Welcome to So You Want to Be a GRC Analyst, the podcast nobody asked for but everyone deserves. I'm Alex, and this is episode 2, The Fun of Policy Creation. Today we're covering how to turn the secure controls framework into actual security policies using advanced spreadsheet techniques.
And I'm Sam. Before we start, I'd like to acknowledge our corporate sponsors, Microsoft Excel, Copy and Paste, and whatever AI chatbot is free this month. Also featuring our premium sponsor, the Office printer that jams precisely when you need to print compliance documentation for tomorrow's audit.
That's right, folks. Due to recent operational efficiencies, our training budget has been redirected to what I can only assume is executive retreat catering. Apparently, they needed $17,000 to discuss synergy optimization while eating farm-to-table quinoa. Meanwhile, our GRC team gets a shared license to Excel 2019 and a motivational poster about thinking outside the box.
Don't forget the company-wide email about maximizing resource utilization that was sent immediately after they hired 3 new VPs of strategic innovation. Because apparently what we really needed was more people to innovate the strategy of not buying us proper tools. So instead of hiring actual consultants, you get us explaining how to transform a glorified CSV file into board-approved documentation. It's like alchemy, but with more pivot tables.
Right, so let's dive into what I like to call the SCF slog.
Beautiful name.
The Secure Controls Framework is essentially a massive spreadsheet with approximately 14,000 rows and enough columns to make your laptop weep. You've got your control families, your control objectives, implementation guidance, and my personal favorite.
Oh, the minimum security requirement column?
Exactly. Column AB if you're following along at home, which you probably shouldn't be because this is technically work time.
And can we just talk about the color coding for a second? The SCF uses a sophisticated rainbow system where different shades of blue indicate... Honestly, I'm not sure what they indicate, but there's definitely a legend somewhere explaining why Control AC 2.1 is periwinkle, while AC 2.2 is more of a cornflower situation.
Now, here's where the magic happens. The first step in our artisanal policy-making process is what I like to call the hiding technique. No, Sam, it's not hiding from our responsibilities. Shame.
It's about hiding irrelevant columns. See, when you download the SCF, it comes with approximately 97 columns of metadata that you'll never need. Assessment procedures, cross-references to frameworks nobody's heard of, and something called assurance level that sounds important but definitely isn't.
Right-click, hide columns. It's not technically deleting evidence, it's streamlining your workflow.
Exactly. Keep only the essentials. Control ID, control objective, and our beloved MSR column. Everything else, gone, like your hope of finishing this project before the audit.
Now we get to my favorite part, the X marks the spot technique.
This is where it gets sophisticated. You scroll through the MSR column looking for cells marked with an X. These X's indicate minimum security requirements that, according to some committee somewhere, are absolutely essential for your organization's survival.
Essential.
You filter by these X's, sort ascending, and suddenly you've transformed 14,000 rows into a manageable 237 controls. It's like Marie Kondo, but with compliance frameworks.
And just like Marie Kondo, it gives you the illusion of organization while the underlying chaos remains fundamentally unchanged.
Beautiful. Now comes the AI handoff, where we pretend that feeding spreadsheet cells to artificial intelligence constitutes professional policy development.
Right. You copy your filtered requirements, paste them into Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini, or whatever large language model hasn't been blocked by IT this week.
Yeah?
You ask it to transform these security controls into comprehensive organizational policies. The AI, bless its neural networks, takes your bullet points and magically expands them into multi-paragraph policies with complete implementation procedures and compliance monitoring. The AI also has this delightful habit of generating policies that reference relevant stakeholders and appropriate personnel without ever defining who that might be. It's like policy Mad Libs. The job title to be determined shall notify someone important within time period of any bad thing affecting whatever we're protecting.
And don't get me started on how it handles technical terms. Ask it to write about encryption, and it'll produce 3 paragraphs about cryptographic mechanisms utilizing advanced algorithmic functions to ensure data confidentiality through mathematical transformation processes. It's like it's trying to impress a computer science professor who's grading on word count. It's like having a policy writing intern who never sleeps, never complains, and never asks why we're turning encrypt-sensitive data into a 3-page document with subsections.
Exactly. And unlike a real intern, it never questions whether any of this makes sense.
Which brings us to the pretty problem. You see, AI-generated policies look suspiciously like AI-generated policies. They're too clean, too consistent, too artificial. The template game is crucial. You need exactly 1.15 line spacing, not 1.0, which looks cramped, not 1.5, which looks like a high school essay. Calibri 11-point font because Times New Roman is too academic, and Arial suggests you don't take formatting seriously. And for the love of all that is compliant, make sure your page margins are exactly 1 inch. Auditors have been known to measure.
The footer is particularly important. You need the document title, version number, page numbers, and the date it was last updated. But not just any date format. It has to be MMDDYYYY for American auditors, DDMMYY for Europeans, and YYMMDD for the ISO enthusiasts. God help you if you're dealing with multiple regulatory frameworks that have different date formatting preferences.
Right. Word templates with automatic numbering, table of contents, and revision tracking. Because nothing says enterprise-grade security policy like properly formatted section headers.
The auditors love this stuff. They see consistent formatting and immediately think these people have their act together.
When in reality, you've just successfully automated the appearance of competence.
I once had an auditor spend 20 minutes reviewing our version control procedures and exactly 0 minutes asking whether anyone actually follows the policies. They were fascinated by our revision tracking spreadsheet, the one that shows we update policies annually whether they need it or not. Apparently, consistency in meaninglessness is better than inconsistency in actual security.
Which brings us to the audit trap. This is crucial, people. You cannot, and I repeat, cannot just dump AI-generated policies into your document management system and walk away.
Right. Revisions and approvals are your lifeline.
Every policy needs a revision history. Version 1.0, version 1.1, maybe throw in a version 1.2 just for authenticity. Each version needs approval signatures from people who presumably read the document.
Presumably.
The key is getting your CISO to electronically sign off on these policies. Once you have that digital signature, you've transformed your AI-generated content into officially approved organizational policy. It's like laundering money, but legal and boring.
And finally, we have the annual review. Because apparently security policies are like dairy products. They expire.
Every policy must be reviewed annually, not because the fundamental nature of encryption changes year to year, but because auditors need to verify that someone somewhere is still paying attention.
So you said calendar reminders. Lots of them. Review password policy, update incident response procedures, pretend to care about data classification. The important thing is documenting that you reviewed it, not whether you actually changed anything. My favorite annual review involves changing the copyright year from 2025 to 2026 and calling it a comprehensive policy refresh. Sometimes, if I'm feeling ambitious, I'll update a reference link that's been broken for 3 years. Revolutionary stuff.
The annual review meeting is a special kind of corporate theater. 6 people sit around a conference room table pretending to carefully examine policies that haven't meaningfully changed since the Clinton administration. Should we update the encryption standards? Nah, AES 256 is still trendy. What about multi-factor authentication? Already says strong authentication methods. That's future-proof. Meeting adjourned, reviews complete, compliance achieved.
You know what I love most about this whole process? We've created a system where the documentation of security is more important than actual security. We spend more time formatting policies than implementing them, more energy on compliance theater than threat mitigation. But hey, at least our paperwork looks professional when the company gets breached.
Now, Alex, let's be fair. The policies do serve a purpose. They give everyone clear guidelines for what they should be doing, even if they don't actually read them. It's like having speed limit signs. Most people ignore them, but at least we all agree on what we're ignoring. Plus, think of all the job security we've created for ourselves. Without policy management, what would GRC analysts even do?
True. Without our elaborate policy ecosystem, we might have to focus on actually preventing security incidents instead of documenting our theoretical commitment to preventing them. Can you imagine? Sorry, can't work on that vulnerability assessment. I'm busy making sure our password policy follows the proper paragraph indentation standards.
Because in the world of compliance, the process is the product. And our process? Magnificent. We've taken a CSV file, applied some Excel filters, fed it to an AI, wrapped it in corporate templates, got someone important to sign it, and scheduled annual reviews.
We've essentially created a policy generation pipeline using nothing but free tools and the crushing weight of regulatory requirements.
And the best part? It actually works. The auditors are happy, the board is satisfied, and nobody has to admit that our entire security documentation framework is held together by spreadsheet functions and artificial intelligence.
It's beautiful, really. A perfect synthesis of human laziness and technological capability.
That's all for today's episode of So You Want to Be a GRC Analyst. Remember, if you can filter a CSV file, you can secure an enterprise. Join us next time when we discuss how to perform a gap analysis using nothing but conditional formatting and existential dread.
And remember, compliance isn't about being secure. It's about proving you're secure to people who don't understand security. Until next time, keep your controls documented and your auditors satisfied. This has been Alex and Sam. Remember, we're not just analysts, we're artists. Artists with spreadsheets. Bye-bye.